Good morning. Welcome to the Millionaire Book Club. My name is Pearlie Hunter. Side effects of tapping in with me every single morning do include personal development, mindset transformations, paradigm shifts, and the ability to think your way to success. So I'm super blessed this morning. Super grateful that you are here. It is July 5th, 2021. Drop me something that you're grateful for in the chat. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for another chance to serve in my purpose. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my spouse. I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for good unity and community. Yesterday was really fun. It was the 4th, the holiday. Didn't really celebrate it for independence, but definitely celebrated family, celebrated friends, celebrated everybody having 3-day weekends off. I'm grateful for nature. I'm grateful for love. I'm grateful for light. I'm grateful for peace of mind, peace of heart. I'm grateful for everything, y'all. I'm just grateful for existing. I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful for getting woken up this morning. I'm grateful that my subconscious kept my heart beating all through the night, kept my lungs doing what they need to do, kept every bodily function doing what it needed to do when I wasn't here. So I'm super grateful for that. Drop me something that you're grateful for in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and get the daily word read. Good morning, Barb. Welcome, Queen. I'm sorry I was a little late today. It took a lot of willpower today. I looked up last night like, oh, I got to go to bed. I have book club in the morning, y'all. But I had so much fun yesterday. I hope y'all had a good day. All right. And the word of the day for Monday, July 5th is prosperity. With positive expectation, I claim my good today. I've heard it said our attitudes help shape our lives, and that where our attention goes, energy flows. With this in mind, I choose to hold an attitude of gratitude and prosperity. I appreciate this day and give thanks for the people I will encounter. I pay attention to the many ways I am blessed and the many gifts I receive. Prosperity, I know, is so much more than the number of my possessions. It is feelings of confidence, faith, fullness, and deep abiding satisfaction. As a child of God, I am endowed with the power to dream and the ability to make my dreams come true. I am prosperous in divine ideas and in my drive to direct my life. I move forward with positive expectation and claim my good today. Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. Okay? So prosperity, I am prosperous, right? A good affirmation to write. I write that every single day. I am prosperous. I allow prosperity to flow to me. Okay. Barb said, good morning, Queen. Good morning. I'm grateful to see another day. I'm grateful for God. You know, I'm so grateful. He's doing so much more for me. I'm just grateful. And I got a moment of clarity with God last night. And he just brought to me that everything that I have asked for, he has brought it to pass. I am so grateful. That is so amazing, Barb. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Yes. When you sit back and start reflecting, you really start to see like, oh, when I start worrying about getting the next thing or getting to the next moment and actually enjoy what I have in the present moment, I actually have a lot, right? I have so much. So that's awesome. How was your 4th? I hope you had a pretty good day. I know Crystal is in the magical world of Disney right now. I can't wait to go back with my family. Oh, Barb, also, how did you like the read, the pre-recorded read? I apologize for the little blurriness. I don't know what that was. It was crazy. All right, I gotta get us one more card. Oh. All right, I'm just gonna pull one. If we can't get one flying out to us, Say, pick me, pick me, pick me. Oh, this one. Okay. I have a be impeccable with your word and don't make assumptions. Okay. So don't make assumptions. Speak openly and honestly. Don't make assumptions. Speak openly and honestly. When you speak openly and honestly, you won't have to make assumptions. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly and achieve impeccability with your word. To be impeccable with our word, to do what we say we're going to do. And then our next one was be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. And we got this one last week too. Be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Okay. So these cards that I pull from are the Four Agreements deck. It's a 48 card deck. And the Four Agreements was actually the 5th book that we read in the book club. It was really, really good, really short. It challenged a lot of our beliefs and it helped us put into proper perspective, where did our beliefs come from, right? Who instilled these values in us? So it was a great book. Barb said, I loved it. I loved it. You know, I kept going back. It had stopped to do something, then come back and pick it up. It was so good. I enjoyed it. Perfect. I'm glad that worked out. And I was at work. I felt good. I felt so good that I was able to still execute the read, even though I wasn't there doing the read. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to go to work, make my coin, serving my purpose. It was beautiful. So I'm excited about that. I've been thinking so much, y'all, like so much about how I want to, like what direction I want to move with the book club. I want to add another layer of value for us. I definitely want to start reaching out and getting guest speakers, guest readers, speaking to some of these 6, 7, 8 figure earners and talk about their mental, right? Talk about the way they think, their routines and daily habits. I'm thinking about a lot of stuff and it's gonna get popping real soon, y'all. So the pre-recorded live finished up chapter 2, and chapter 2 was all about negativity. And the chapter 3 is about fear. Okay, so chapter 3 is starting on page 46. I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. If I say something that resonates with you, please go ahead and drop a MOC in the chat. MOC basically means moment of clarity. It's my way to connect with you guys, to know that you are taking value from this, to know that you're still awake, to know that you're having light bulb moments and you shifting your paradigm ultimately, right? You're growing. We're growing together. That's what the MOC represents for me. When I see it, I know we're growing and I'm grateful. All right. So let's get started. So chapter 3, fear. Welcome to Hotel Earth. Fear does not prevent death. It prevents life. Okay, Buddha said that. Fear does not prevent death. It prevents life. The epic battle of Mahabharata is about to begin. The air is thick with anticipation. Thousands of warriors fingered the hilts of their swords as their horses snort and paw at the ground. But our hero, Arjuna, is terrified. He has family and friends on either side of this battle, and many of them are about to die. Arjuna, among the fiercest fighters of the land, drops his bow. The Bhagavad Gita opens on a battlefield with a warrior's terror. Arjuna is the most talented archer in the land, yet fear has caused him to totally lose connection with his abilities. The same thing happens to each of us. We have so much to offer the world, but fear and anxiety disconnect us from our abilities. This is because growing up, we were taught directly or indirectly that fear is negative. Don't be scared, our parents told us. Scaredy cat, our friends teased. Fear was an embarrassing, humiliating reaction to be ignored or hidden. But fear has a flip side, which Tom Hanks alluded to in his commencement address at Yale University. Fear, he told the graduates, will get the worst of the best of us. The truth is, we'll never live entirely without fear and anxiety. We'll never be able to fix our economic, social, and political climates to entirely eliminate conflict and uncertainty, not to mention our everyday interpersonal challenges. And that's okay, because fear isn't bad. It's simply a warning flag. Your mind saying, this doesn't look good. Something might go wrong. It's what we do with the signal that matters. We can use our fear of the effects of climate change to motivate us to develop solutions, or we can allow it to make us feel overwhelmed and hopeless and do nothing as a result. Sometimes fear is a critical warning to help us survive true danger. But most of the time, what we feel is anxiety related to everyday concerns about money, jobs, and relationships. We allow anxiety, everyday fear, to hold us back by blocking us from our true feelings. The longer we hold on to fears, the more they ferment until eventually they become toxic. Y'all hear that? The more we hold on to fears, the more we ferment them, right? So if we're thinking about a garden, our mind as a garden, and if you have fear, right? If you have a seed of fear, the longer that you keep it there, right? It's destroying your garden. It's destroying everything else. So you have to look fear in its face, right? Pull that thing up. Don't ferment it. Don't cultivate the fear. Don't allow it to live and exist in your garden. Kick it out. Weed it out. I am sitting cross-legged on the floor of a cold basement room in the monastery with 20 or so other monks. I've been at the ashram for only a couple months. Gauranga Das has just discussed the scene in the Gita when Arjuna, the hero, is overcome by fear. It turns out that Arjuna's fear makes him pause instead of charging directly into battle. He's devastated that so many people he loves will die that day. Okay, the queen had an MOC. Thank you, queen. The fear and anguish lead him to question his actions for the first time. Doing so provokes him into a long conversation about human morals, spirituality, and how life works according to Krishna, who is his charioteer. Good morning. Thank you. When Gauranga Das concludes his lecture, he asks us to close our eyes, then directs us to relive a fear from our past. Not just imagine it, but feel it in our bodies. All the sights, sounds, and smells of that experience. He tells us that it's important that we not choose something minor, such as a first day at school or learning to swim, unless those experiences were truly terrifying. But something significant. He wants us to uncover, accept, and create a new relationship with our deepest fears. We start joking around. Someone makes fun of my overreaction to a snake skin I came across on one of our walks. Gauranga Das acknowledges our antics with a knowing nod. If you want to do this activity properly, he says, you have to push beyond the part of your mind that's making fun of it, right? Push beyond the part of your mind that's making fun of it. That's a defense mechanism keeping you from really dealing with the issue. And that's what we do with fear. We distract ourselves from it, Garanga Das says. You need to go past that place. The laughter fades, and I can almost feel everyone's spine straighten along with my own. I close my eyes and my mind quiets down, but I still don't expect much. I'm not scared of anything. Not really, I think. Then, as I drop further and further into meditation, past the noise and chatter of my brain, I ask myself, what am I really scared of? Flickers of truth begin to appear. I see my fear of exams as a kid. I know that probably sounds trivial. No one likes exams, right? But exams were some of my greatest anxieties growing up. Sitting in meditation, I allow myself to explore what was behind that fear. What am I really scared of? I ask myself again. Gradually, I recognize that my fear focused on what my parents and my friends would think of my scores and of me as a result. About what my extended family would say and how I'd be compared to my cousins and pretty much everyone else around me. I don't just see this fear in my mind's eye, I feel it in my body. The tightness in my chest, the tension in my jaw, as if I am right back there. What am I really scared of? Then I start to delve into fear around the times when I'd gotten in trouble at school. I was so worried that I would be suspended or expelled. How would my parents react? What would my teachers think? I invite myself to go even deeper. What am I really scared of? I see this fear around my parents, of them not getting along, and of me at a young age trying to mediate their marriage. Of thinking, how can I please both of them? How can I manage them and make sure they're happy? That's when I find the root of my fear. What am I really scared of? I am afraid that I can't make my parents happy. As soon as I hit that revelation, I know I've reached the true fear beneath all of the other fears. It is a full body aha moment. Like I sank deeper and deeper underwater, pressure mounting against my chest, increasingly desperate to breathe. And when that realization hit me, my head popped up and I gasped for air. Okay, so let's set the scene. He was doing all of this during his meditation, right? So that's something that could probably be a learning lesson from somebody. When you meditating, you can ask yourself questions, right? That's how you're going to get the answers. You have to ask. Like, I know we have to quiet our mind, but we having a conversation with our higher self, basically, right? During meditation, we are conversating with our higher self. So I like how he was asking himself questions during his meditation in his mind, of course. What am I scared of? What am I scared of? And then allowing his mind to reveal the answers, right? And then he trusts those answers because it's during his meditation. Good morning, Crystal. Welcome, Queen. I hope you're having a great, great time. He trusts those answers because, you'll feel it. It's a feeling thing, right? It's intuition. Intuition. When you start your meditation, you start it with intention, right? I have an intention to get this question answered or to connect with my higher self, right? Okay. Half an hour earlier, I'd been so sure I wasn't scared of anything. And suddenly, I was uncovering my deepest fears and anxieties, which I managed to hide completely from myself for years. By gently but consistently asking myself what I was scared of, I refused to let my mind dodge the question. Our brains are really good at keeping us from entering uncomfortable spaces, right? But by repeating a question rather than rephrasing it, we essentially corner our brain. Now, it's not about being aggressive with ourselves. This isn't an interrogation, it's an interview. You want to ask yourself the question with sincerity, not force. Being scared of exam results was what I call a branch. As you develop your relationship with your fear, you'll have to distinguish between branches, the immediate fears that come up during your self-interview, and the root. Tracking my fear of exam results and the other branch fears that appeared led me to the root. The root was fearing I couldn't make my parents happy. The fear of fear. Okay, the fear of fear. During my 3 years as a monk, I learned to let go of my fear of fear. Fear of punishment, fear of humiliation, or fear of failure, and their accompanying negative attitudes no longer propel my misguided attempts at self-protection. I can recognize the opportunities that fear signals. Fear can help us identify and address patterns of thinking and behavior that don't serve us. We let our fear drive us, but fear itself is not our real problem. Our real problem is that we fear the wrong things. What we should really fear is that we will miss the opportunities that fear offers. Gavin De Becker, one of the world's leading security experts in the gift of fear, calls it a brilliant internal guardian that stands ready to warn you of hazards and guide you through risky situations. Often we notice fear's warning, but ignore its guidance, right? Often we notice fear's warning, right? Because we feel it. We feel the emotion of fear, but we ignore its guidance. If we learn how to recognize what fear can teach us about ourselves and what we value, then we can use it as a tool to obtain greater meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives. We can use fear to get to the best of us, right? So fear is not failure. Fear does not mean stop. Fear does not mean run. Fear does not mean halt, right? Fear is just an emotion, right? Just like every other emotion that you evaluate and you choose, right? Is this an energy? Is this an emotion that is positively serving me, right? Is it helping me? This thing that I want to do, is it really fear? Am I really scared of this? Or is it false evidence appearing real, right? You won't know until you do it. A few decades ago, scientists conducted an experiment in the Arizona desert where they built Biosphere 2, a huge steel and glass enclosure with air that had been purified. Clean water, nutrient-rich soil, and lots of natural light. It was meant to provide ideal living conditions for the flora and fauna within. And while it was successful in some ways, in one, it was an absolute failure. Over and over, when trees inside the biosphere grew to a certain height, they would simply fall over. At first, the phenomenon confused scientists. Finally, they realized that the biosphere lacked a key element necessary to the tree's health. Wind, right? Wind is what it was lacking. In a natural environment, trees are buffeted by wind. They respond to that pressure and agitation by growing stronger bark and deeper roots to increase their stability. We waste a lot of time and energy trying to stay in the comfortable bubble of our self-made biospheres. Okay? Your comfort zone is your broke zone, right? You want to push yourself past the point of comfortability. Because if you're comfortable, you're probably not working at your peak, right? You're probably not working at your peak. Okay. We fear the stresses and challenges of change, but those stresses and challenges are the wind that makes us stronger. In 2017, Alex Honnold stunned the world when he became the first person ever to climb Freerider, a nearly 3,000-foot ascent up Yosemite National Park's legendary El Capitan, entirely without ropes. Honnold's unbelievable accomplishment was the subject of the award-winning documentary, Free Solo. In the film, Honnold is asked about how he deals with knowing that when he free climbs, the options are perfection or death, right? How does he handle that weight? You're either going to be perfect or you're going to die. People talk about trying to suppress your fear. He responded, I try to look at it a different way. I try to expand my comfort zone by practicing the moves over and over again. I work through the fear until it's just not scary anymore. Honnold's fear prompts him to put in extensive amounts of focused work before he attempts a monumental free solo. Making his fear productive is a critical component of his training, and it's propelled Honnold to the top of his climbing game and to the top of mountains. If we can stop viewing stress and the fear that often accompanies it as negative, and instead see the potential benefits, we're on our way to changing our relationship with fear, right? If we can stop viewing stress and the fear that often accompanies it as negative, and instead see the potential benefits, we're on our way to changing our relationship with fear. Okay? The first thing we need to realize about stress is that it doesn't do a good job of classifying problems. Recently, I had the chance to test a virtual reality device. In the virtual world, I was climbing a mountain. As I stepped out on a ledge, I felt as scared as if I were actually 8,000 feet in the air. When your brain shouts fear, your body can't differentiate between whether the threat is real or imagined, whether your survival is in jeopardy or you're thinking about your taxes. As soon as that fear signal goes off, our bodies prepare us to fight or flee, right? Our fight or flight response, or sometimes to freeze. If we launch into this high alert fear state too often, all of those stress hormones start to send us downhill, affecting our immune systems, our sleep, and our ability to heal. Okay? So when we are in a consistent state of stress, we are letting off a stress hormone called cortisol, right? And cortisol, too much cortisol is bad for your body, right? It's bad for your health. And when you are stressed out, when you are operating under those lower frequencies, that's the hormone response that your body is sending out to you, right? So just think about that. On the flip side, the good one that you want to have, like when you laughing, when you happy, when you joyful, when you grateful, then when you excited about something, that hormone is dopamine, right? So you got your fear, cortisol, your happiness, dopamine. Let's stay off the dopamine, right? Not literally, but just happy, internally happy. All right, where am I at? Okay. Yet studies show that being able to successfully deal with intermittent stressors, such as managing that big work project or moving to a new house, to approach them head on, like those trees standing up to the wind, contributes to better health, along with greater feelings of accomplishment and well-being. When you deal with fear and hardship, you realize that you're capable of dealing with fear and hardship, right? It won't overcome you. You will get through it. If you get yourself through it, right? You will get through it if you allow yourself to get through it the right way. If you don't, then you probably lead to stress, depression, and all of that, right? But if you allow your mind to get you out, weave you out of your negativity positively, you're doing a great thing. When you learn how to channel negative energy into positive reinforcement, right? When people throw a negativity to you and the only thing you're thinking about is channeling that into positive reinforcement, you're doing a great thing for yourself. Good morning, cuz. Welcome. Okay. So when you deal with fear and hardship, you realize that you're capable of dealing with fear and hardship. This gives you a new perspective. The confidence that when bad things happen, you will find ways to handle them. With that increased objectivity, you become better able to differentiate what's actually worth being afraid of and what's not. From the fear meditation I described above, I came away with the idea that we have 4 different emotional reactions to fear. We panic, we freeze, we run away, or we bury it, as I have buried my anxiety about my parents. Okay? So we panic, we freeze, we run away, or we bury it, right? We don't want it to be seen. The first 2 are shorter term strategies, while the second 2 are longer term, but all of them distract us from the situation and prevent us from using our fear productively. In order to change our relationship with fear, we have to change our perception of it. Once we can see the value that fear offers, we can change how we respond. An essential step in this reprogramming is learning to recognize our reaction pattern to fear. Okay? Me and my therapist were just talking about this. That's awesome, right? Self-development, self-mastery, self-awareness, growth. That's because she's helping you grow, or he. Work with fear, okay? I've mentioned that monks begin the growth process with awareness. Just as we do when facing negativity, we want to externalize our fear and take a step back from it, becoming objective observers. The process of learning to work with fear isn't just about doing a few exercises that solve everything. It's about changing your attitude toward fear, understanding that it has something to offer, then committing to doing the work of identifying and trying to shift out of your pattern of distraction every time it appears. Okay. So shift out of your pattern of distraction every time it appears, right? And at first, when you first start doing this, when you shifting yourself out, it might take work. It might take work, a lot of work, right? But eventually it'll just become like a subconscious thing the more and more that you do it, because repetition is the mother of skill. Each of the 4 distractions, from fear, panicking, freezing, running away, and burying, is a different version of a single action, or rather, a single inaction. Refusing to accept our fear. So the first step in transforming our fear from a negative to a positive is doing just that, right? Accepting our fear. That's the first step. You know, a lot of people like, I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't scared of nothing. I'm only afraid of God. Like, yeah, you are afraid of more things than that, right? Be honest with yourself. Okay. Accept your fear. To close the gap with our fear, we must acknowledge its presence. As my teacher told us, you've got to recognize your pain, right? We can't heal what we hide. That's why you can't heal what you hide. You've got to recognize your pain. We were still seated, and he told us to take a deep breath and silently say, I see you, to our pain. Okay. That was our first acknowledgement of our relationship with fear. To breathe in and repeat, I see you, my pain. I see you, my fear. And as we breathed out, we said, I see you and I'm here with you. I see you and I am here for you. Pain makes us pay attention, or it should. When we say, I see you, we are giving it the attention it is asking for. Just like a crying baby needs to be heard and held. Breathing steadily while we acknowledged our fear helped us calm our mental and physical responses in its presence. Walk toward your fear. Become familiar with it. In this way, we bring ourselves into full presence with fear. When you wake up to that smoke alarm going off, you would acknowledge what is happening in the moment, and then you would get out of the house. Later, in a calmer state, you would reflect on how the fire started or where it came from. You would call the insurance company. You would take control of the narrative. That is recognizing and staying in present time with fear. Okay, so we got our first try this. Okay, rate your fear. Draw a line with 0 at one end and 10 at the other. What's the worst thing you can imagine? Maybe it's a paralyzing injury or losing a loved one. Make that a 10 on the line. Now rate your current fear in relation to that one. Just doing this helps give some perspective. When you feel fear crop up, rate it. Where does it fall next to something that's truly scary, right? Where does it fall next to something that is truly scary? Find fear patterns, okay? Along with accepting our fear, we must get personal with it. This means recognizing the situations in which it regularly happens. A powerful question to ask your fear, again with kindness and sincerity as many times as necessary, is, when do I feel you? Right? Ask yourself this. When do I feel you, fear? After my initial work with fear at the monastery, I continue to identify all of the spaces and situations in which my fear emerged, right? Fear is just an emotion, right? All of our emotions are up on a shelf. And depending on the energy we stimulate it by, certain things come out, right? So, when you have an eerie feeling, why? It's the energy that's around you at that time. But when you have those feelings, that's the time to acknowledge them and discern them, right? Discern them. Okay. So he said, I continue to identify all of the spaces and situations in which my fear emerged. I consistently saw that when I was worried about my exams, when I was worried about my parents, or about my performance at school, or getting in trouble, the fear always led me to the same concern: how I was perceived by others, right? What would they think of me? My root fear influences my decision making. That awareness now prompts me, when I reach a decisive moment, to take a closer look and ask myself, is this decision influenced by how others will perceive me? In this way, I can use my awareness of my fear as a tool to help me make decisions that are truly in line with my values and purpose. Okay, I like that. I really like that. Sometimes we can trace our fears through the actions we take, and sometimes it's the actions we're reluctant to take. One of my clients was a successful attorney, but she was tired of practicing law and wanted to do something new. She came to me because she was letting her fear stop her. What if I jump and there's nothing on the other side? How many times have people heard this? Or maybe you said this, right? I've said something like this before, right? The grass ain't always greener on the other side. That's what people tell you. That's what we program to think and program to believe. So we stay in settling, and we stay limiting ourselves because of that type of rhetoric, right? That type of programming, right? The grass ain't always greener on the other side. When we know that the grass can be as green as we allow it to be, right? Because we're the gardener. We're the ones cultivating everything. We're the creator. We're growing our garden. Nobody on the other side is controlling the garden, right? We are in control, or the grass, whatever. Okay. What if I jump and there's nothing on the other side? She asked me. That sounded like a branch question, so I kept probing. What are you really scared of? I asked her. Then gently kept asking until eventually she sighed and said, I spent so much effort and energy building this career. What if I'm just throwing it all away? I asked again, and finally we got to the root. She was afraid of failure and of being seen as less than an intelligent, capable person by others and by herself. Once she learned and acknowledged the true nature of her fear, she was on her way to recasting its role in her life. But first, she needed to develop some real intimacy with it. She needed to walk into her fear. Queen, do you have a Superman? Say blessed day, and I will see you. See you, Queen. Have a good day. Thank you for joining in. Have a good day, Queen. I'm about to finish up. We almost finished. One of the problems we identified was that she had no role models. All of the attorneys she knew were still practicing full time. She needed to see people who had successfully done some version of what she wanted to do. So I asked her to spend time getting to know former attorneys who were now working in new careers that they loved. When she did that, She not only saw that what she dreamed of was possible, she was also delighted to learn how many of those people said they were still applying skills that they had acquired and used to practice in law. She wouldn't be throwing all of her hard work away after all, right? But we can get into a space where we allow our minds to create this whole scenario. So now we sitting here scared of something that we created in our mind that's not even real, right? That's why they say fear is false evidence appearing real. I also asked her to research jobs she might consider. Through that exercise, she found that many of the soft skills she'd had to learn to be a successful attorney, such as communication, teamwork, and problem solving, were highly sought after elsewhere too. By developing that intimacy with her fear, getting up close and examining what she was afraid of, she ended up with information that left her feeling more empowered and excited about the idea of switching careers. Patterns for distracting ourselves from fear are established when we're young. Okay? Patterns for distracting ourselves from fear are established when we're young. They are deeply ingrained, so it takes some time and effort to uncover them. Recognizing our fear patterns helps us trace fear to the root. From there, we can decipher whether there's truly any cause for urgency or whether our fear can actually lead us to recognize opportunities to live more in alignment with our values, passion, and purpose. Okay? So I'm going to stop it right here. And we are on page 55. Okay? So we're going to stop it right here. And that was good. If you took value from that, drop me a 111 in the chat. That was super, super great. Let's sit fear right here in our hand, right? Let's sit it right here. Let's look at it. Let's release it with love, release it for light, with light, release it with our newfound growth, right? Our newfound awareness of self. And, we can release it because we know that we don't want to attract that back. So we don't need to house fear. We don't need to house negativity. We don't need to house rage. We don't need to house anger. We don't need to house it, because if we house it, we can put it out, right? And if we put it out, we gonna get it back. Because whatever energy that we putting out into the universe is creating the experience that we are having right now. So if you are not having a good experience, if you're not experiencing, the best that life has to offer you, then it's just some work to do internally. And that's okay, right? Because we can do it. We can do it. Let's run ourselves, right? So yeah, family, that's it. Don't allow fear to sit you on the bench. Don't allow fear to stop you from doing what you truly want to do in life. Don't allow fear to control you. You are in control. You are the master of your thoughts. You are the master of your actions, right? And the moment that you start knowing this, affirming this every single day, and acting like this, right? Doing this, checking yourself when you having those thoughts, writing, getting your journal, writing it out, processing things. You're going to start uncovering so much about yourself, so much about this journey, and you're going to feel so much better because you're not feeling like a victim or a prisoner of your mind, right? You're not the prisoner of your mind at all. You're not a victim of your circumstances, and you're not a prisoner of your mind. So that's it, family. I'm going to wrap it up right there. Thank y'all so much. I'm so grateful that you could join me today. Protect your energy today. Protect your peace today. Be a light. Spread love. Spread kindness. Smile today. Observe the masses and do the opposite today. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I am your sister in love. I am your sister in light. I appreciate y'all so much. And we'll be right back at it in the morning. Continuing fear. Okay. Chapter 3, fear. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Okay, YouTube, like this video, subscribe to my page, and tag a friend. Okay, bye.